Hi guys. One thing I realised I've not covered for a while is these kinds of extended pentatonic scale shapes that I use, which are... So they kind of sit between two positions on the neck, but they allow you to play... They allow you to play the pentatonic scale with some speed and fluency. Now, if you've not encountered these before, I've made a few videos, and I'll stick a link in the description field and attach one to the video as well if you just want to sort of review that. But the problem with a shape like this, when it's kind of an awkward shape, and the same's true with arpeggios as well, is the way people tend to approach learning these is that they just run up and down the scale shape over and over again and try and drill it under the fingers. But what you end up with, if that's all you do, is you tend to just play the scale over and over again, or you just play the arpeggio. And you don't really sort of drill into the parts of the shape that are really kind of awkward. You don't have a way of sort of focusing on one section of the scale over another. Now with this scale there's a handy little exercise, and I'll put a link as usual in the description field. I'll attach a PDF so you don't have to try and figure out note for note what I'm playing. But this exercise is something which will take you right the way across the neck and back again. But if you look at it, you can actually split it up into little 8-note fragments that you can use to focus on one particular area of the neck, focus on one particular aspect of the scale, and just sort of drill that and get that under your fingers, and then you can move on to the next one. So you can be much more structured in how you learn it. And also these fragments can be used in their own right as little licks and riffs and little sort of connecting passages that you can use and start to build that vocabulary of shapes and things which you need when you're learning a scale like this, if you don't just want to be running it up and down the neck all the time. So let's start with me playing it through, and then I'll show you how I break it down. Okay, so that's the scale. As I say, it moves, it's kind of cyclic in nature, and it moves backwards and forwards across the neck, as you can see. Now let's zoom in, and I'll just show you how I break this out and what I do when I'm trying to work on little fragments of it. So if I take the first 8 notes, for example, we have, and that's a nice little cyclic pattern that you can just repeat over and over again. And it's something that you can easily drill just as that fragment and get it under your fingers. And then the next 8 you can do exactly the same thing. So the next 8 starts here. Okay, and that feels a bit more awkward to me, but there you go. And then because it feels more awkward, I can spend a bit more time on that, and then moving on to the next 8. So for that, the movement feels easy, but controlling the strings feels a bit more difficult. So I actually know it's not so much, for me, it's not so much my left-hand technique as it is about string dampening and managing the strings when I'm moving through that section. And so this is exactly how I approach drilling a shape like this, how I get that scale under my fingers, and how I work through the idiosyncrasies, if you like, of this particular pattern over just say playing the 3 notes per string scale. So that's it. Have a go with it and see how you get on. It's quite a stretch. These shapes are quite a stretch, but it's a useful different way of approaching the pentatonic scale. I find if I have a different fingering for the same scale, that scale sounds completely different. You approach it in a different way, you emphasize different notes, it just gives you a new vocabulary to play the same set of notes and introduce new sort of tonal ideas and things over the same chord sequences. So because it's the same scale, it'll fit over the same chord sequences as you've used the standard pentatonic shape, but it just gives you that different set of colours to play with. So I find it useful. See how you get on with it anyway, and we'll chat next time. Goodbye.